Something happened then. I don't know what happened then. Okay, so
I don't know what happened then. I think we're live. I'll go with that.
I think it's all it's still raining like hell outside there, so whether it's affecting me signals, I don't know.
No, we're okay.
We're back. Yeah, we're back.
We're up and running. Yeah, I decided I was going to play the intro, but I decided not to. It's like rock and roll, really. The Cardiff City phone in. Anyway, on the panel tonight, we got Martyn Edwards back with us. Good to see you back again, Ed. Thanks for coming.
Nice one, Steve.
Mark Pontin. Hi, Mark.
Evening. How you doing?
And Terry, not in his garden, but near his garden. Hello, Terry Walton.
I'm all in the warm of my computer room.
Well done. I was just saying before we went on, it's a little bit like Groundhog Day, really, because the same old topics come up, but it just seems like, Ed, I'll start with you. It just seems like we're kind of holding water, to use a pun with recent weather, kind of holding water, we've got to a certain level, we kind of plateaued. Yeah. And there's just nothing happening, we're still waiting for definition on the manager. We seem to have forgotten how to score goals. All the zip and fizz seems to have gone out for the last few games. So this goes round and round out, doesn't it?
It's very annoying. Like you say, we looked like a team we were going to kick on.
We did.
We had the buzz there. Robertson was playing well. He was really gelling into the team. And that setback, it just seemed like that dark, gloomy night in Luton. We dropped the pedals, and then that game against Blackburn was a counter-attack, even though they were probably the better team. I only caught a bit of Saturday's team, but what's annoying is, what's the Scottish guy, Banham, is it?
Yeah, he's decent, isn't he?
He's one player we should have bought, but probably would have bought him, and he'd be no good for us. But he always runs the show against Cardiff. But we need consistency. The bench, as we spoke before the show, the bench, there just seemed to be no impact players. It was more get the goal possibly instead, like steady the ship, but we conceded straight after, and we looked a bit lost.
Yeah, we didn't hold on to it at all. I think, Mark, we look kind of fairly shaky, I think, at the back. Would you agree that we're probably, I think, although it surprises even me to say this, when he first came in, I wasn't that struck. But I think Chambers and Gutas formed a really good partnership. And I think Gutas is really missing him. We just look a bit wobbly at the back, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were terrible on Saturday. I questioned the bench, putting two left backs on the bench, Joel Bagan and Jamalu Collins, when we needed to have, at least like Ed said, at least one more impact player. What happened to El Ghazi? As bad as he's been, is he injured? Why wasn't he on the bench? Reindorf, why wasn't he on the bench? And I just thought it was, again, tactical naivety to basically decide on about the 58th minute that we're just going to play for the draw and go to a back three, which ended up being a back five. It's just negative tactics. And I think what I said when Rizza first joined and we had a couple of positive results, what I first said then was, yeah, we're getting good results because other teams don't know how we're going to play with a new manager. Now they do. The one thing they're doing is they're stopping Colwell having his space and Colwell's just, absent without leave. He's just not involved at all. They know how we're going to play, and we've got no answer to that. We've got no plan B. I mean, I don't think, again, I mean, I can go back a year on this show and say, I don't think we've got a midfield, Steve. We haven't got a midfield. But it's like the personal errors. It was two woeful teams on Saturday. Turnbull's free kick. Did you see Turnbull's free kick when he just kicked it directly to the Sheffield Wednesday player? And it was just a catalogue of individual errors. It was probably one of the worst games of football I've watched. And thank God I didn't pay to watch it this time, because I always pay. I haven't got Sky, so I paid for Now TV. But I watched it back on Cardiff City television for free. It was dreadful, and Darland is getting found out for either lack of minutes, but looks potentially like he's not as good as we thought he was. And we're still missing, since Kiefer Moore, we still haven't got a striker and we can't score goals. And what
Massively.
why we're sticking with Kanga? I mean, it's just a joke now. It's just a joke. I mean, he just runs around a bit, and that's about it, really. He's not a footballer. I mean, I could do that. Give me the 10 grand a week or whatever he's on. I'll get on the pitch. I'll run around a bit.
Yeah.
I'll be huffing and puffing, but I might have more chance of scoring than him, to be honest.
Well, that's an interesting one. Terry, I've always thought over the years, particularly when we played teams like Swansea and Bristol, and I just love like a 2-minute cameo role towards the end of the game, you know.
Yeah.
But, not necessarily to kick the ball, you know.
Well, what I couldn't understand, though, why did he play O'Dowd at back when he could have played him instead of Matey on the wing?
Yeah.
He had two backs sitting on the bench, which could have gone. He could have left Matey out of the team completely. Don't even put him on the damn bench. I wouldn't even do that. But and the other thing that seems to have gone at the back, as you mentioned, Gutas don't seem to be clicking anymore. Siopsis was playing great football in midfield. He seems to have gone off the boil. And what amazed me, we had that perfect run leading up to the Luton game, and they were on a bad run, and we ended up not playing well against them. Blackburn were on a bad streak, and we played badly against them. And this sort of an excuse, they needed the international break because they're all tired. What the hell are we paying in professional footballers for?
Yeah. Well, Jeff Delacruz, I'll stick with you for now, Terry. Jeff Delacruz is saying, he's saying we're being very negative, obviously. But
there's one thing I'm going to say.
Yeah.
If that was an Ever Bullets team, we would have folded and lost about 4-1 there.
There is that.
Especially the amount of chances they had. You can't fault Donwick. Some of the defence, okay. What's got to stop us is playing out the back. It's just inviting pressure, and I'm like looking away. Some of the Finns, where you've seen who done it yesterday, Southampton, they play from the back, got caught out goal, and I just don't get it. I really don't get that play.
So I know we haven't got a striker, but we don't leave a player upfield when the ball comes out.
Yeah.
There is no one up there to relieve the pressure. Everybody wants to come back and defend. If you're going to get someone who's going to score goals, they've got to be in the box.
So Terry, how long have you been following City?
I started back in the Trevor Ford era in 1957.
Okay, 67 years, yeah?
Yeah.
So you got a right to have an opinion on Cardiff City, right? So, a couple of queries that would come in, like this lad, young Michael Reindorf, I think he travelled with the squad, but he didn't get in the squad. Reindorf versus, shall we say, Kanga as an option, and Ashford versus Matey. Would you be more inclined, Terry, to go with the young ones and give them a go, or stick with the fairly predictable, lumpy pros?
Well, there's no point in sticking with the numpy pros. They're doing absolutely zero for us. I mean, these guys, they're young, they got a blood, they're doing well in other levels. They're going to come better. So why not bring them on? I wouldn't say play them a full 90 minutes, but you've got that option off the bench, and you could play somebody else in there, couldn't you? And I find it strange at the moment with Callum Robinson, why he's suddenly gone. He looked at one time he's going to start poaching a few goals. But again, he seemed to, in the side now, doesn't seem to click anymore.
I don't think he's 100% fit in his defence.
Well, maybe that's the case. But you look back at the good old days when we had the Earnshaws and the Chopras. They never played in the Cardiff half. They were always in the opposition half. They wait for that ball to come out, and they were poachers. They were there to be able to snatch on a loose ball and be able to put it in the back of a net. Because the other thing I find frustrating, even though Colwyn and Tanner are playing well in the midfield and making great opportunities, they seem to lack that killer edge in front of goal, don't they? They never seem to hit the ball quite perfectly to find the back of the net. They make great chances, but can't sort of put the killer instinct into the back of the net.
So Mark, if we just come to you off the back of what Terry said, in particular, Turnbull, because when Turnbull, I mean, he scored some fantastic goals for Celtic, by the way, and he likes to have a proper goal. He still hasn't got that first goal, so maybe that's what it is with him. He looks better, in that position in midfield than he has, but it's those kind of players, like Terry says, really going to start contributing offensively, haven't they? Really?
Well, yeah, but I take issue with the coaching. I mean, we've got rose tinted glasses on. Let's be honest. We beat Plymouth, Portsmouth. I mean, Blackburn stuffed us. Let's be honest. I mean, and the whole championship from about the 8th or 9th place down is dire anyway. So, Luton were on a bad run when we played them, and I don't. The coaching isn't good for me at the moment. I can't see Rizza being anything other than a slightly better version of Bullet, and maybe he can get us some results against the lesser teams of the Plymouths and the Portsmouths. I really can't see the tactical naivety that he changed. Was it the Bristol City game, or was it a game he went and he changed
Bristol?
Yeah,
Bristol City.
Now he did it again. He did it again on Saturday. I mean, for me, I mean, call me old-fashioned, but if it's like 58, 59 minutes and it's 1-1, and you don't want to concede the 2 points you might gain, and you don't want to invite pressure. I mean, they bombarded us. Apart from a Tanner shot and a Colwell free kick, I don't think we had a chance. And they were unlucky not to score 2 or 3 more goals. Let's be honest.
They hit the bar, didn't they? That was a certain.
Yeah, I mean, if you can say that's a good point away from home and the conditions were pretty poor, yeah, I understand that. But Rizza made that choice. I'm going to play for the draw. I don't like that kind of coaching. If it's 75 minutes, then fair enough. 58, 59 minutes, bringing Joe Bagan on, bringing Joe Rolls on, and then chucking Kanga on towards the end in the hope that he might suddenly find his sparkle. I mean, that it's to me it's not good. It's not good coaching. I got to be honest,
Yeah. Other people have said that, Ed, as well, about on the Rizza, and about the fact that it's kind of naive and unproven as a coach. And somebody I saw earlier today who knows his football was saying, let's kind of end this experiment and let's bring in a proven manager.
Yeah, I think it's time. The problem with the club, they've been bitten so many times, and they're worried. They're worried they're going to waste money again. But it all boils down. We need a director of football. We need someone. We need a director of football. End of. We need control of the club because no one's there. Yeah, and the quicker that happens, the better the club will be. The appointment needs to come in before the January because he needs to get his players. You can't see anyone coming in before Christmas, could you?
Well, no, Christmas is just a few weeks away now, isn't it? I know. Keep on talking about Christmas as if it's something in the future, but you can't get away from the Christmas lights when you go in the pub now.
That's when all the games are coming thick and fast at you.
Yeah, loads of games coming.
If we're stuck with Risa, we got to stick with him.
There's a good point. Sorry, Ed, I'll start with you on this one. Maybe go around on this if that's all right. Go on. So there's a good point here about from let's see where it is a second. It's to do with Kanga. I'm just trying to find where the actual comment came from. Here it is. So Paul Howell's teams know how to shut Colwell down. Yes, they do, but they also know he's our playmaker. If you can shut Colwell down, there ain't much more happening really. But the point he makes there is quite an interesting one. Suggesting, why we keep playing Kanga? Is some contractual obligation to play him for so many minutes? Just I'll go to you, Ed, on this now. But my mate Jeff came in with a good one. He comes in as one-liners sometime. I said, I don't think Kanga touched the ball. He said, no, I don't think that's his game, touching the ball.
No, it's just his ass not dead, is it? It's like he's come over here, and I don't know if he's not settled or what. He just
doesn't look happy.
I think he hangs around with Meaty, doesn't he, when you see him in the Cardiff City videos. So
Yeah.
there you go, you got two bad eggs together. But I do, with Meaty, I will say, at Reading, he was a striker. I'm sure, wouldn't he be a striker at Reading?
I don't know what he is these days. I'll have a look. You might well be right.
He just don't look the build for a winger. He just don't look there either. Two players that look, I would put him in the academy, or you just ship him off. You know, we've had, who's the player who up front, big black guy, and Morrison. At least he tried, and he got us a couple of goals.
Gabba.
No, not Gabba. Not Ubo. Or he scored against Barnsley.
Oh, Piezu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he put himself about. Like he really got us. I would take him compared to this Kanga. But like Paul says, it must be something to do with contracts, with the minutes, with the club.
What any thoughts on that, Terry?
Well, I mean, it's strange. There's some contractual thing. He's playing that much rubbish. You to the hell with it and take the chances, don't you? I mean, I would drop both of them completely off the bench, put them into the academy side and say forget it. And then you either start playing well there and come back in the team or forget it. I mean, you've got to give them. There's youngsters there who deserve an opportunity. You can't. We're not winning. We're in a little purple patch. But over the next few weeks, if we can't win, we're in dire trouble again. It takes 2 defeats in that league, and you're in trouble, aren't you?
Here's a question for you, Ter.
And that should have well been another defeat on Saturday. To get a point out of that was sheer luck. Nothing to do with playing well for it. They didn't deserve it. They got it on sheer luck. I was afraid all the way through that Hugo was going to have a brilliant game and put 6 in us.
Yeah, I thought he scored.
You remember they sold him last season? He joined Wednesday and he didn't stop scoring.
Just the stat on the screen there. Thank you, Jeff. Mate apparently scored. He had a striking rate of slightly better than 1 in 4. You know, which is not bad for a striker at that level. 42 goals in 156 games for Reading. 12 games to Cardiff City this season. There we go.
It's not just the fact he's not even on target whenever he gets an opportunity.
He's had a few, haven't he?
He's in the centre. He gets a cross ball coming in from a set piece. He's always to the left, the right, or over the bar. He's never got in between the posts. I don't test the goalkeeper.
I think his best ever game was against Swansea last year at home. That was it.
Yeah. What do you think, Mark? Is there anything in that? Maybe they were kind of obliged to give him game time?
Possibly, but I can't. With someone like Kanga, if you look at the club he's come from, I mean, and his age, you'd think that a younger player would be. They let them out on loan because they have to have minutes, so they come back an improved player. He's not a younger player. I think he's just someone that wasn't working out for his previous club. They want to get him to come over here and play a bit in the hope that he'll find himself another club, or it's just to get him away from the club. You know, he's not working out at was it Hertha Berlin that he came from?
Yeah.
He just wasn't working out there. I mean, he has scored goals in his career, but he's not the sort of striker that, you know, the way we're playing at the moment. If you look, the last time we had a prolific striker was Kiefer Moore.
Yeah.
And we had Harry Wilson basically setting him up left, right, and centre with assists and playing a number 10 or whatever. Harry, we haven't got that down this time. We haven't got a number 10 that's linking with a striker like that anymore. We're just hoping for the best with the odd cross. We're hoping for a counter attack. We're hoping for this. We're hoping for that. But none of the strikers we've had have had decent service in the last few seasons. Let's be honest, you know. Now, I don't think Kanga will suddenly become a brilliant striker for another club if he's getting really good service. But it's just we lack the cohesive kind of number 10 to striker or false 9 to with two people up front that we've had in the past. we haven't got that attacking capability anymore. The way we're set up and the way we have been set up, we haven't got that capability anymore. We've got to be honest with ourselves here and say we're a mediocre attacking team, and we have been for at least 2, if not 3 seasons. And it's personnel, it's coaching, yes, but it's personnel as well. We don't have the players to do it. I mean, Mate, again, scored a lot of goals for Reading. It's probably in a different system that we're playing now. You know, he's a muscly kind of strong forward, and we're not playing that kind of game. We're not playing that kind of game. You know.
Yeah.
So I just think that we still lack personnel. I mean, look at the new manager of Manchester United. He was going to be the saviour. He came in and got a 1-1 draw with Ipswich because he's still got the same players as Ten Hag had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's part coaching, but it's part personnel as well. I can't see that, you know, unless Rydorf is suddenly or Isaac Davis comes back and reignites, you know. Yeah.
Well, Tete's was on the way back, but of course he's had another setback. I suppose that Ed, one thing you could say, and I really hope this is a totally misplaced comment, but you know, if we don't manage to get a decent striker in January, which is traditionally the hardest transfer window, and we don't manage to start looking like we're going to score goals and indeed score goals,
Mm-hmm.
The more you don't score, the more you concede, the more you lose, the lower you drop.
Relegation.
And eventually, it's going to come and bite you on the proverbials, yeah. And eventually, if that was to happen, it's kind of bear thinking about it. Really, they were to go down.
We can't
really. Although we don't know the finances, we've got a good idea, but we don't really know them. But you could argue that, you know, we kind of. If that did happen, we would have had it coming because the signs like Martyn has been on the wall for years.
Yeah, for the last 3 or 4 seasons. Well, 3 seasons. We got out with a scruff of the neck. That's only because of the points deduction with Lamucci.
We'd have been
we would be gone.
In Division 1 now, no doubt about that. We were very, very lucky that year we stayed up. Very lucky.
It's some people, some of the fans, they say, I don't want a mid-table scrap. I don't want it. And then I prefer like a relegation battle. Really? I'm like, I can't handle it. You get the feet, you're staring at the face, and then you're like, wait, like you said, Steve, some of the times you go, you don't know where the goals are coming from. I think our saviour will be, I think we'll all agree, God, the rain, will be Colwell. I think he's going to be our saving grace.
Unless we flog him in January, Terry.
have to.
No.
If somebody came in with 5-10 million for Colwell, will he be a goner, Terry, wouldn't he?
I think so. I mean, that's the one fear in January. He's the only player standing out in the side at the moment. And if somebody comes in with 8 million for him, he's gone. And we'll have nothing left, then, will we? But what I still find rather difficult, we all got a bit euphoric when we had that bit of a run. And we were banging goals in then. So what? And we looked as if we were going to start doing things because we weren't looking for the ball in the middle and head it in or pinch the goal. It was well scored goals, creating space and tapping into the net.
The link
after about 3 or 4 games, that disappeared again.
So the positivity is the link up between Colwell and Tanner.
Yeah.
That's the positivity. Every game, those two, when they're linked up and they keep on asking questions of the defenders, it's a delight to watch. If those two are off the game, it's like Mark says, we lack creativity. Robinson's dropping too far back. There's no one up front. But I'm sure there's going to be a change. There's going to be a change around somewhere.
Well, it's got to be. I mean, it can't. After 2 defeats and a very lucky draw, if they lose to QPR on Wednesday, there's going to be a major shake-up again, isn't there?
Yeah.
We will not lose. We will not lose.
No,
come on, Terry. Come on.
That's a game we should put 5 or 6 goals in at least.
That's just win. That's just win.
The trouble is, Terry, I totally agree with you. If I'm really honest, I looked at this month. I looked at November, back a month or 2 back. For blimey, November looked really good. We could harvest some points.
Yeah.
We're just getting really bad results. We're not kicking on. And like you said, with I thought and again, like Ed said, I totally agree. When Colwell and Tanner, but those first few games, we had a bit of a new manager bounce in a way, didn't we? Under Rizza.
Yeah.
And there was like a bit of zip and a bit of fizz and a bit of belief when we were pressing. But all that, so we just seem to have gone back into our shells. And there's a comment here which I'll put up. I'll go to you. I'll go around on this one again if I can, from Martyn Ryan, and he starts off by saying, "I feel with no actual evidence." So we're talking about football here. I mean, that's the best stuff, really. But he says, "I feel with no actual evidence that the senior players are having too much influence given the uncertainty over Rizza." So, in effect, I suppose, is the tail wagging the dog, Terry, the players.
Well, that no doubt happened with Bullet, didn't it? I mean, it was a situation there. He wasn't motivating the players. They didn't want to play for him. And he went. And when Rizza came in, he then seemed to turn it round. And I don't believe that's the case at the moment. I don't think if you're a professional footballer, the manager is not part of your concern, is it? Yet at the end of the day, you are the men on the pitch. You have to win the games. You go out there. Okay, selection is very important. But it's still the same group of players, that purple patch of 5 or 6 good games. And why you have to play crap against Luton, go even worse against Blackburn, go even worse against Wednesday. I can't believe they are concerned about Rizla's future.
Yeah. Mark, do you want to come in on that?
It's a difficult one. I still go back and I still think of how euphoric we were when Mick McCarthy won that load on bounce, and we were all like, "Look at this! This is great. He's the new Messiah. Give him a new contract." I think it's more to do with getting found out quite quickly in this instance by other teams, and with the same players, the same kind of system, slightly more attacking, yeah. But as soon as the other side see how we're going to play, all the impetus goes away. I mean, now we got the same. I was saying the same things before. Errol Bullet doesn't have a plan B. I don't think Rizza's got a plan B. Errol Bullet setting up not to lose. Rizza set up towards the latter part of the match Saturday not to lose. And maybe their hands are tied because of the lack of personnel that we've got. But we also have to be honest. Everyone's. I love Ruben Colwell. When I went to Cardiff City Stadium on a tour, I sat in his seat because I picked him out of all the players. I wanted to sit in his seat. But you look at when Harry Wilson came on loan to us, right? He was around about, what was he, 23, 22, something like that.
Yeah.
What a player,
We didn't get to see him, did we?
Yeah, no.
Not in real life, no.
Now is 22, 23. He doesn't have a great deal of pace. He's not a very good header of the ball. When he's on it, but he's off it more. So, yeah, we could have a 5-10 million player on our hand, but also we could have a not 5 million, 10 million player. He's too inconsistent. He's easily bullied out of the game. Let's be honest. He's somebody like Barry Bannon. You look at Barry Bannon, little Barry. Yeah, he's got
really experienced pro, isn't he?
Great vision, great everything, but he doesn't get bullied out of the game, even against some of the class teams. Ruben Colwell can disappear in the game, and when you want a number 10, you want a number 10 that dictates everything. And we've been losing the last few games. The opposition's terrible. The Blackburn were awful.
That's the worry in Britain.
Wednesday, they're not a good team. They've been like us, up and down. They've gone down. They come up. They've lost a lot of decent players. They've got the same kind of side they had before as well, with the Bannons and the Callum Pattersons and all that. The Championship, from about, like I said, 8-9 down, there's a lot of teams struggling to score goals. There's a lot of bang out. I mean, it was so static at times on Saturday. It was like, am I watching a Sunday league game here where they're all too tight to run for a bit? It was really slow,
Yeah.
We have to hold our hands up and say maybe the greatest manager in the world could come in, and we may not have.
Well, have Guardiola's having a look, I think.
What's that?
I think Pep Guardiola's having a look.
Well,
At the moment, we don't want him.
yeah, you look at Guardiola's bench when he's struggling. He said, "I haven't got the players, I've got the players." We've got some players we can put on that bench to make a difference, and he picks 2 left backs. Why did he put Dan Collins on the bench? Why did he put Grinder? I mean, that to me is poor coaching.
Can I come? Yeah, I want to come back onto that because that's another interesting one. But if I can just bring Ed in on the point there about what Martyn's saying about that, senior players, because Rizza obviously it's not like he came in from outside the club. He was like Bullett's number 2 sort of thing. So he sus sort of thing,
It's hard. It just does seem like the paint's gone dry, and some of the players, they had the influence on Bullett getting the sack. I'm hoping that he has got a hold of the players because he seems like one of them. Do you know what I mean? He seems like one of them, and I like the way he talks. But like Mark says, some of it has been. You look at the formation, or when it comes out on your phone, you think, "Oh, really? Where's he gone?"
Well, he says he changed the formation on the weekend. He said he went 3-4-3 to begin. I didn't see
3-4-3. I can't stand playing Callum Robson up top on his own. I just think it's negative.
Yeah,
but we ain't got that man to play with him.
No, I mean, because he is really like he is the man that Mark was talking about. He is the number 10. He is the false 9, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
He's a top goal scorer, but he's not a traditional kind of centre forward, is he?
We would never have a Brian Clark or John Toshack partnership ever again.
Which allows me, because you said such a beautiful thing, which I totally agree with. But hopefully you're wrong, but I think you're probably right not. I'll go to you on that, Terry. Tosh and Clarkey, any thoughts on those two? They went bad, were they?
Well, you knew goals would come in, didn't you? You had the understanding you knew goals would come in. It was the same when you had Chopper and Whittington get together. You knew the goals would come in. Whittington was the best dead ball player I've ever seen. And you had that situation where they were going. Chopper was a poacher. His job was to put the ball in the net, don't get out. And he never left the penalty area unless he have to.
It was Ernie and Forney as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Ernie was the same. Ernie was the later Jimmy Greaves to me. He was always in there looking for that tap into the net.
But can you see the pattern now? Every time we had those kind of partnerships, we went up. Remember Helgeson when we were playing in that dreaded red? And he used to stay up in the air for so long and knock it down. And what was his name? Campbell would be the goal poacher. Yeah. That was another partnership that we had, great.
Yeah.
We just haven't got it.
Well, when you think about it, right? Mark Harris, they let him leave. He goes to Oxford. He scores loads of goals.
Yeah, he banged them in.
Ugbo came to us, scored a few goals, then didn't score any. He goes to Sheffield Wednesday. He scores loads of goals. It's like we're not have to score goals.
There must be a striker disease in Penarth or something.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? There must be something in the air.
But you're right. I mean, when players leave us, they seem to have a patch of goal scoring.
Yeah, they all do.
Particularly, but again, you take Harris at Oxford now. They've got the bubbles burst there, haven't they? That Sunday, the wheels have come off that train, and they're crashing down that league at a rate of knots.
Hull City as well. They're dropping.
And as you say, you take away the top 6 clubs in that championship, and it can be anybody goes anywhere. You put 2 wins together, you're knocking on the playoff place. You have 2 losses on top. You're fighting the relegation.
So let me just take you back to something that we mentioned earlier on, Terry, because we're on to quite a relevant thing, I think, about this idea of partnerships. Like Mark said, we don't really quite look right in midfield, but we kind of gone to sort of 2 creative midfielders where we had 2 holding midfielders, and we don't have that partnership up front. But as Ed said, Tanner and Cole are kind of working as a partnership. But then I said about Chambers being missing and Gutas because he looked so comfortable, they look so good together.
Yeah,
we don't really have an awful lot of that going through the team, do we? Where we think, that's that's the lineup. When they're all fully fit and we got our full team to choose from, we're okay. But I think it just points out that the squad is just not nowhere near strong enough, and we've signed too many players who aren't quite up to the mark. Terry, would you suggest?
Well, that's a big thing. I mean, some of these players, what the hell made the decision to bring there? I honestly don't understand. But we seem to get key players who seem to be out for infinity. I mean, look at Ramsey. They brought him back there to give him a bit of strength in midfield. He starts at the beginning of the season, plays 4 or 5 games. You don't see him for the rest of the season, and he never seems to get fit again.
Yeah.
What happened to Chambers? Why is he?
He did pick up a knock, but I can't remember what the knock was.
He was ill, wasn't he? I thought he was ill.
He was also he was ill. He was ill as well. But I think there was a knock as well, because I'm guessing the illness wouldn't have continued for that amount of time.
You go back 20 years ago. If a player missed 2 games, that was exceptional.
Yeah.
These days they seem to miss half the season when they're out.
Well, I mean, the example of that, I know we're talking about the old days a bit, but the 92-93 season, with that amazing squad, it was like 30.
We didn't have Dale, did we?
They won the league,
Yeah.
Carl Dale got injured halfway through, didn't he?
Yeah. So, it can't
am I right in saying that Gutas plays better when he's either on the right or on the left? And is he back on his weaker side now? Am I right in saying?
I think he was on the right with Chambers. I think because Chambers surprised you played on the left. I think he's pretty better where he is. I think
because he was bad early on in the season, wasn't
he? He was in.
But this goes back again, didn't it? What we were saying earlier, selecting players out of position. Why does he play Dowd as full back? It's not his position. He didn't do anything up forward, and he doesn't do anything to out the defense. So you just not play him there. You've got enough players in that defensive position. They sitting on the bench, bring them on, leave Matey out, and brought Dowder on the wing. He'd had a bit more attacking strength up front.
So earlier on, Terry, I said about Reindorf versus Kanga and Ashford versus Matey. I mean, there's also the Bagan versus O'Dowda thing at left back. Is it because, do you think, Ed, the young players are not being inverted commas thrown in there because of where we are in the league? Is that what it is?
I think there is a bit of a blanket behind it. They don't want them to be. They want Cardiff City. Just seemed like they want the experience. Like we say about. I like Bagan. I like
Bagan a lot.
The only mistake he made was probably when he got sent off at Bristol City a couple of years ago. He lost. But
he didn't mind taking one for the team.
He puts one. He puts a good tackle in, and you've got Reindorf, who reminds me of Cameron Jerome.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
He really run at them, and and impact player, massive impact player, and it was like breath of fresh air when we did that dull little at the beginning of the season. We watched him in the Southampton, and those kids who played at that Southampton game played great football.
It was a great match. My favourite match, probably.
Apart from when we beat Norwich at the end.
Yeah.
But they just played with no fear, and I don't know if they don't want them to go onto the pitch and get bullied but that's a part of being a footballer. And the sooner they get it, the sooner they get into the routine of being on the bus and everything. It's a bit like a racehorse when they got to take them to the track. That's where it's got to start. Otherwise, it's going to be too late, and we're going to be.
The method he's using isn't working, is it? So it's got to be a radical change. You can't keep bringing players on who had no impact to the side whatsoever. You've got nothing to lose by bringing players on who at least going to give it 100%.
How far is Isaac Davis from coming back?
I don't know. He's had a setback. That's all we know, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, see, he's a loss. I think they were looking at him for the season. Our man.
But would he play him down the left wing?
No.
He probably would, wouldn't he?
Yeah. You're right.
What's your best foot playing the other wing?
Yeah. What are you known as? Striker. Okay, midfield. When we had Patterson, did we? We had a right back playing up front, but it worked.
He did all right, didn't he? He did all right.
Yeah.
He should have scored against us on the weekend, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Steve Thomas, hi Steve. I spoke to Viv Maverick yesterday, by the way. Steve, I bumped into him over Sunday dinner, and he said 630 City fans went up there on the weekend, which is incredible because I think I'm right. Mark, you might know this. Are we one of the few sides in the entire football league who haven't won away from home this season? Am I right in saying that?
I'm not sure. I'm not a stats man.
I think we are. I think if anyone knows, I think you know. So just on that point, Mark. Yeah, you know, all credit again, as we always say on the show, to City fans. Blimey, you know, talk about, you know, suffering for the cause, you know.
Well, the fans will always be there, won't they? You know,
the fans are fantastic,
and all we ask is for entertaining football. Really, let's be honest. I mean, we know that if we go up to the Premier League, we're going to be stuffed every week. You know, we just want entertaining football. We want people to try, and we want to see some passion on the pitch. I mean, I was thinking, I was watching the game, Sheffield Wednesday game. I'm thinking, none of them are shouting at each other like Phil Dwyer used to shout to my uncle Keith, you know, and come on, Keith, and all this kind of stuff. And you know, there's no real force on the pitch that's driving their own teammates on. There's no leader. There's nothing like that. There's not much passion, even from the young Cardiff boys. You know, there didn't seem to be. I don't know. It's all a bit weird from what we used to before. You know, the grabbing the badge when they score and all that kind of stuff. There's no. What we give a Phil Dwyer type character we haven't
got enough players with passion, do we? There's no passion for the club.
So Steve Thomas, Terry, he travels when he comes home because he lives in Nottingham. So a home game is an away game, but he goes away all the time. So he says, to play devil's advocate, yeah, and I think he have picked up 15 points under us, haven't we? So we've won 4 and lost 3 since Rizza came in. Bearing in mind, by the way, Steve doesn't say this, but bearing in mind, in the previous 6 under Errol, we had 1 point out of 6.
Yeah.
And we got 3 away draws. I mean, are we really that bad? And also with that point, Terry, as well, somebody else said, like the bottom half of the table are all in the scrap. It's pretty average, you know.
It's all close.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're lucky at the moment. QPR are propping up well, and I'm a torrid time right through. Portsmouth are not doing too well down there. So there's 2 sides there which are doing worse than we are. But amongst all the rest of the teams there, we're probably 3rd worst.
So are we really, you know, I know it was a terrible match, just faced on the weekend, yeah. But we didn't lose. We scored, and we got an away point. And we didn't really lose ground on the clubs around us too much. And maybe it's just going to be that kind of season. So maybe, Terry, we're just one of the average to mediocre to average sides this year.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
There's probably 12 to 14 sides in the championship are all roughly the same. You've got 2 poor sides, 12 average sides, and about 6 who are walking it.
Yeah.
I mean, you only got to look at last night. I don't want to mention them, but scored 3 goals and still lose 4-3.
It was great to watch though, Terry, when they got out with there.
Yeah, it was good football. Yeah, I know.
You don't like Leeds.
But again, you know, they shot up the league through a few good wins on the trot.
Yeah, they did.
They backed. You have 2 wins and we overtake them again.
There's a point there, Terry. Right, Mark, I'll go to you because of your proximity, right? But you know, Swansea is sort of labelled as, you know, the Brazil of Wales. You know, they play the Swansea way. You know, with 16 games in, more than a third of the season, they're 3 points above us. You know, and they're one of the clubs actually who could be drawn into it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the question isn't are we really that bad? Is we're not really that good. You know, it's that for me, if I'm looking for a future, and I'm seeing the manager that might be coming in, which is possibly Rizza, and I'm looking at the future with Cardiff City, I don't want to think, are we going to play like this all the time? Are we going to struggle all the time? Are we going to just about survive all the time? I want to see a little bit more oomph in the team, that we might be able to make the playoffs. We might be able to, you know, give the top teams a competitive game, you know, and I can't really feel that at the moment because the opposition has been pretty poor that we faced, you know. So I can't. I think I mean, I throw another spanner in the works. Steve Cooper got the sack, didn't he? So,
well,
no.
I was leaving that one at my sleeve, but let's go there. Yeah, let's go there. So 2 words, Steve Cooper. Mark.
well, Steve Cooper and Alan Tate. This is a problem.
Well,
I can't see it myself.
You've
I can't.
answered it already, I think.
Not Alan Tate, and not he can't have anything to do with Cardiff. Come on,
So Steve Cooper, we'll go around on this one. It's only because the other one, Mark Robbins, obviously, is also still being talked about, and Bilic is still in the background, yeah. But so that and it goes back to the season manager thing. So Steve Cooper, just a bit of history lesson on the phone in the 20 odd years we've been doing this, because Keith Cooper co-presented the show with me for the first few years. Keith is Steve's dad. I remember him coming up to me in the corridor. He said, "My lads won the World Under-17s championship, with England." I remember that, And off the back of that, then obviously because he worked well with youngsters, he went to Swansea, right? And he went on from there. Steve, like his dad, born in the Rhondda Valleys, Rhondda Valleys person, So heritage-wise and history, Keith Cooper was on the books at Cardiff City.
Yeah.
So it's. But I suppose it's his backup team, because we won't be having any roast potatoes down here, will we?
you can't have Alan Tate anywhere near.
No, I agree with Mark. You can't.
As a manager, Ed, I'm playing really playing devil's advocate now. As a manager, right?
Yeah.
Locally kind of produced, he has had some success, worked at a higher level, proven manager. On that basis,
I hate to say it, but I'll probably say yes.
No, I don't think that's the way to go. No,
I don't. But I say yes, but I don't think it will be him. I think I think we kind of want Mark Robbins, but I think we'll end up with Bilic. And we'll end up a season doing well and then fading, and then he gets sacked. But and we just need a director of football.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
We missed our chance before Wales poached Bellamy.
Yeah. But
I was going to mention Bellamy the other week, Terry. Right, so I'll mention it to you now. But so I think it's Slan Remney rather than Remney. I think that the Craig's wrong, but. Cardiff boy, and he's been a lively character over the years. Terry's now always been the most well behaved in some ways, apparently, yeah. But how fantastically well he comes across in his press conferences, and I watch his press conferences and I listen to every word. I love hearing him talk about football. I'm thinking, same as probably everyone, wow, wouldn't it be great to have Craig Bellamy one day?
Yeah. But again, he's come in, no disrespect to the Welsh team, with a mediocre group of players, and they're playing well as a team and they're winning as a team, and that's what it's all about.
They've got them all believing in themselves.
Players and get them to win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be man management. It's got to be team selection. He's got to know the game. He's got to know his players' strength for him to go on that pitch and turn out the performance that they've been turning out recently. And it's the same at Cardiff. I mean, it's the same players who had that good little patch not long ago. So therefore, it's there somewhere. They can beat sides in the mid-table, and they just lost to 2 sides in the mid-table. So what's gone wrong again? The players seem to have had a little spell when Rizza come in, and now doing the same effect as Bullet and saying, "Well, we can't be bothered."
So Mark, let me ask you this one. So there's some great comments coming through again as ever. Thank you very much for the comments. That was worth reading, I think. Is it possible, do you think, that with the players, because they said some nice things about Umar, didn't they, when he first got the job, Mark? Yeah. Did they think, he's going to be the manager? I just wonder if they just think, well, no, he's not going to be the manager now, because it's kind of dragging on and on. There's no real clarity.
Yep.
Just wonder if they've kind of lost belief in the status quo,
Well, I think all the uncertainty that's coming down from the top, from Vincent Tan down, doesn't help, does it? There's always Do you know what? Every press conference, and fair play to Rizzo. He does a good press conference as well. Fair play to him.
He comes across really well. He does, yeah.
Yeah. But he's asked every what was it like when you went to Malaysia now, when you met with Tan? What was it like?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd be here for Wednesday's game? Do you think you'd be here? And a good football team always plays to the image of their coach. You look at Craig Bellamy with Wales; they're all fighting. Craig Bellamy's on the sideline; he's almost getting sent off himself, And here we've got a coach who doesn't know what's happening, whether he's going to be the coach, and the players are also feeling that uncertainty. Is he going to be the coach? Are we going to have to impress Mark Robbins? Are we going to have to impress Slaven Bilic? Am I going to play in this position on Wednesday? Am I going to be playing at all in 2 weeks' time? So there's too much uncertainty with it. It's dragging on and on and on. And I know there's not a lot of options out there as far as managers and recruits, but someone like Mark Robbins, I think, who did really well at Coventry. Let's be honest, I think Robbins coming in would be a better option, But
while you were talking, Mark, there was some excellent Ayatollah and all kinds of stuff going on in the background in Ed's house. So that was.
Holding my iPad with two hands, otherwise it would fall.
Ed, any thoughts on that?
What happened in all those interim weeks when Bullet went and Omar took over for that period? There was supposed to be all this effort going to find the permanent replacement, but it just didn't happen, did it? There was no names mentioned. Nobody became a front runner. Lots of names being bandied about, but nothing really happening.
Yeah,
I think that run kind of made that decision to keep him there.
Yeah.
You don't break a winning side. So the dream was like, it was a little dream, and now it's become a little bit of a reality.
Yeah.
But I like Mark said, I think it's Mark Robbins. He knows the division. He's been there. He's taken Coventry. Didn't get him over the line. But I think he won. I think he won't get on with Tan. I really don't think he'll get on with Tan.
Well, I don't think any manager will get on with Tan. I mean, all he's interested in is he won't spend any money. He wants a manager to come in, take a mediocre group of players, get Premier Division football, have the parachute payment, and come back down, and he's happy.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times we've done that? We've gone up. We've done absolutely nothing, and come down the following season with 42 million.
Yeah.
They keep making the same mistakes, though. It's all to do with the lack of football knowledge at the very top. I mean, all the mistakes that they made. Tan blames Malky for the overspend on players when we went to and it goes on and on and on and on and on, and it's always the same kind of errors. And now he's afraid of making another error. But in reality, he doesn't know what to do, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He's tried his best to make a decision he thinks is good, and it's always bad. So now he's thinking, well, if I appoint Rizza now and it goes south, I've made a bad decision. If I bring in Mark Robbins and it goes south, I've made a bad decision. He hasn't got the confidence to make a decision. So he's just seeing what happens. And yeah, we've got the luxury of being able to do that because Rizza was under contract before he was appointed manager, and he was brought in as a coach. Yeah. But the problem is it doesn't give a hell of a lot of confidence, not only for the manager himself, but the players, all the fans. Everyone's uncertain. Is Rizza going to be here for the January transfer window? Is he going to plan for the transfers then? Because we need players. Is there any money? It's always, is there? Will it? It's never any definite answers. And it's how long is this going to drag on for?
But I mean, I would have thought.
Is it going to take Rizza to sort it out?
Having gone to Malaysia and met face to face with Tan, there must have been some targets laid down.
I think a few of them went over there, though. Few managers went there.
Yeah.
But
apart from one, I was told he wouldn't go.
Yeah. But
And
I
I don't leave it in
thought he came back from there quite clear what his goal is before they give him a contract. So he must know what that is.
Yeah.
So would we like? Because I would, if I'm honest. You know, if we were to bring in another manager, Mark, I'd quite like having Rizza. I'd like having Rizza as his number 2 as part of the coaching team. I'd be happy with that. Would you?
Not particularly. If you're bringing in a manager, this is the problem with Steve Cooper. He's got a working relationship now with Alan Tate, and they're going to come as a package. And the same as Mick McCarthy came with what was his name?
Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to want their own backroom staff. I think Rizza as a coach in the background maybe, but not as a number 2. I think if you bring someone else in like Mark Robbins, he's going to want to appoint somebody he's used to working with, he trusts, etc., and not someone that he's thinking, well, if I get the sack, this guy's just going to be in my job. He wants a wingman who's going to go up and down with him. You know, I mean, the jury's still out a little bit on Rizza for me, but he's starting to get found out. He's still doing the tactically naive things of protecting a 1-1 draw against Sheffield Wednesday with, you know, a good 25, 30 minutes left in the game, rather than thinking, hey, we might be able to nick this. We might be able to score here. Let's get some attacking impetus here. We might be able to get, you know, he was thinking, no, I'm going to protect the 1-1. I'm going to go for the draw. And I don't, if it was against Leeds or Sunderland, I would say, yeah, protect the draw. But Sheffield Wednesday making equally as many personal errors. And I think we could have possibly gone for the juggler there, and a couple of little tactical switches here and there, and we a bit more counter-attacking, more tempo, a bit more pressing, and we might have nicked the goal. But no, I want to protect the 1-1. I don't agree with that at all.
Okay, so we've only got a couple of minutes. Terry, you were going to try and come in, I think.
I mean, it was the same. You know, there was a couple of games during this purple patch, like the Norwich game. Okay, we came away with a 2-1 win, but it was nail biting, and that
fantastic win, though, wasn't
it? Again, couldn't it? And you'd have been back in real trouble. And I think my thoughts are that Wednesday night will be the telling point. If we lose at home to QPR Wednesday night, I think Rizzle has gone again.
Okay, so before I go to you, just to say, some excellent waving going on again. Is 15 out of 7, right?
Yeah.
If we beat QPR on Wednesday, you'll have 18 out of 8 games. That is.
It's decent.
That is playoff plus form.
Yeah, it's decent. I know we moan about like our performance on Saturday, but I look at them. You come away, right? You go to your away games, you do not get beaten, right? That's how I see it. Do not get beaten and try and pick up your wins at home, which it slightly went sideways at the beginning of the season. If he wins tomorrow, Wednesday, which I think they will, I would like him in around the club, even if he's not in. If you don't get the job,
okay,
that's my opinion. But I understand what Mark says. A lot of these managers come with packages, and it might be, but something might have been said in the pipeline. If it don't work out, there might be a position for you.
Let's just get a quick comment from Terry on that, and then we'll whiz around with one last thing. So Terry, would you keep him, or would you like him on the staff, or?
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think if they're going to bring a new manager in, he's not going to want stuff that's already in the club. You know, he's going to want to bring his own team in. He's not going to take responsibility for coming in, taking somebody on who's considered not good enough for the job, and can always stand in. As again was said earlier, if that person doesn't make the grade, he goes and Rizla stands in again as caretaker manager again. That's not the way to go forward, is it? It's like building a football team. You've got to build a football management behind them.
Yeah, and of course, in his case, he will have lost his relationship with Bullet, I imagine. So
Yeah.
So I've got 2 questions left. One of them I have to ask Terry. I'm only asking for a brief answer from you, Terry, on it. But I'm sitting in my garden shed right now, and it's pouring with rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which vegetables are going to benefit the most from all this rain? You know,
Nothing.
Be
We want.
funny.
It's the time of year you want crisp, frosty mornings with the winter vegetables benefit from frost. That puts the flavour on their plate. We don't want all this rain.
Yeah.
It'll rot them in the ground.
Okay, so I'll try and get a positive out of you there, Terry, but there we are. We're just going to...
There's no positive with rain. We don't.
Right.
It's Kanga. Kanga's in your garden. Hey, if Terry, if he turned up with a Christmas package with all the shirts, would you take it off Kanga or not?
Yes.
You take them.
I'll put it over my closet to keep my plants warm. That's the best use of his shirt. It's better on my plants than it is on his back.
I think this conversation is going to go downhill, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all. Cheers, guys.
Okay, all the best.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Shut up.
Bye-bye.